What's going on YouTube? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Tommy Martin and this is my wife,
Phoebe Martin.
And we're back here to share with you some of our tips about marathon training. But remember, we are beginners with this and we just finished our first marathon, but we want to tell you how we went about it. But before we get to that, I want you to know that you are greatly, greatly loved and that you are wonderfully and beautifully created and that you are capable of far more than you could ever imagine.
Okay, so first step, go out to the printer right now and print out a calendar for the 3 months that you're about to train. So the calendar will look something very simple like this. And you're gonna follow a plan just like this, something that you find online or something that we create for you or whatever. But the importance of planning out the whole training ahead of time is essential, because I promise you, if you plan out how many miles you're gonna run tomorrow on your last mile that you're currently finishing, you will always underestimate how much you can do, and you'll always plan your miles for the next day way less than you're actually capable of.
Let's get right into it. But before I start, I want to know that this is not the only way to prepare for a marathon or train for a marathon. This is just the method that her dad coached us with and how we went about it. So the very first day that we want to start with is right here on Sunday. So on Sunday, you have your long run.
There's two things that you have to plan for your Sundays. When you're gonna fit your long run in is when you're gonna go to church as well. Don't forget that part. Okay, so the long run consists of, in the beginning, it may just be 8 miles or 10 miles, but eventually towards the end, it's gonna be a 20 miler, a 13 miler, a 20 miler, 13 miler. So our goal for the next marathon is to run 4 20 miler days. Now, the importance of the 20 mile is that it is a pace that you can handle, but not your marathon pace. It's a slow pace. It's to get in the miles, to get your legs used to running 20 miles or 13 miles, not so much focusing on the time during these runs.
Right, so that's something I really want to emphasize because I am terrible about that. I'm someone that says there's work to be done, let's do it as fast as possible and get done with it. But you cannot do that. So for these long runs, really stick at the pace that we tell you, or that if you're reading a certain book that it tells you that your long run should be at, because it is not going to be at your marathon pace. It will be considerably slower than that. And that's very important to make sure your body has time to recover and that you just do not hurt yourself on these long runs.
And if you don't trust us, we did every single long run together, and Tommy ran a 30-minute faster marathon than me. So it really doesn't matter what pace you go during these long runs. It's all about the miles.
Alright, so the next day would be, if you look here at the calendar, the next day we're going to go from Sunday to Monday, and Monday would be a short recovery run.
Now, this run, your legs are going to feel tired because you just probably ran 20 miles the day before, but this is to get all the lactic acid out of your legs. It is a non-pushing day, and I cannot emphasize this enough. It should be conversational pace. So if you're running with someone, you should be able to hold the conversation the entire time. If you can't, slow down. So this is generally about 5 miles or 6 miles. It's nothing too big.
Yeah, and again, I want to emphasize again, because I did all of my Monday runs with my beautiful wife as well, and at the beginning I didn't want to. I wanted to push and push and push. And I started having Achilles pain and calf pain and things like that, and that's just because I wasn't following the training plan her dad set for me and running at the slow recovery pace. So Mondays, slow recovery runs.
Yes.
And the next day is where it gets fun. So Tuesday, you are headed to the track.
Okay. So find a local track, and this is going to consist of different distances in which you're going to push and different distances which you are just going to relax. So all of the tempo, all of the track runs start with a 2 mile or 3 mile or 1 mile, whatever it is for that week, warm up. This warm up pace is just to get in the distance, to warm up your legs. It's no set time that you have to do. So now you're on the track. Let's say that this week calls for 5 intervals. The interval is going to consist of a fast part and a slow part, okay? So the first interval, let's say it's for an 800 meter, which is half a mile, 800 meter pace, 800 meter run at a 8-minute mile pace, let's say, okay? So that means that if you're running an 8-minute mile pace, you should finish that 800 meters in 4 minutes, because it's half a mile, like I said. And then before you start your second interval, you're going to do a slow 1 lap around the track, 400 meter recovery. And this can be at any pace as long as you keep moving before your next interval starts. So these are the days that it's very important that you really try to hit that pace. If you can go a little bit faster at the end, you can, but it's all about that pace that's set. So obviously Tommy had different speeds that he had to hit than I had to hit.
Yeah, and with these 800s, it is important that you hit that mark each time, and then on your 400 slow, that you really use that to recover. And the 400 should generally be the same pace that you run your 800 at. So say you do a 4-minute 800, you need about a 4-minute recovery lap then to do another one. This is also known as Yasso 800s, and then you could do it different. You could do 800s, you could do 1600s, different intervals that way.
Yeah, so at the end of our training, we were going all the way up to doing an interval that was 2 miles long. So you can imagine how this can be pretty tough. You're doing 2 miles of fast work before you get a 1 lap around the track recovery, pace, breathing, everything.
Exactly. So then the next day, which I'm sure you guys will enjoy, is Wednesday, which is your day off. And this day is crucial for recovery. So no running whatsoever, icing, stretching, foam rolling, eating, walking your dog, whatever you like to do for fun. It is time to recover on Wednesday to get ready for what's to come on Thursday. So Thursday is probably the most rigorous run, so tell them about it.
Yeah, so Thursday is known as your tempo day. Okay, so tempo days always consist of a mile repeats. Okay, so you're gonna warm up just like you normally do. It's usually about a 2-mile warm up, and then depending on the week, like this plan will show you, it changes how many mile repeats you're gonna do and what pace. But there's no recovery in between like there are on Tuesdays. So Tommy did it at a track again because it was easier for him to keep on his pace. I used a 2-mile loop around a park. So I was only, let's say I had to do 10 miles of a tempo, I only had to go around the park 5 times.
Whereas I did it on the track and I had to go around it 40 times. And I would recommend that you do not do it on a track just because your race is not going to be on a track. Yeah. So get on the roads. This is the time, your tempo runs is the time to really show what it's going to be like on race day. So you want to have your goos ready or whatever you use for nutrition. You want to have water ready for your run because you want to simulate exactly what your race is going to be like. So have everything ready to crush it on your run. And this run is going to be a few seconds faster than what your marathon pace is. So my marathon pace that we just trained for had to be at a 7:03 is what I had to run. And I ran all my tempos at about a 6:45, 6:50 pace. So it was a good 15 seconds faster than marathon pace. But then again, we the longest tempo run we did was 10 miles.
Yes, so in the beginning, your first tempo run will only be 5 or 6 miles. But only, I shouldn't say that because it was hard. You know, when we did the second week of 6 miles, I was finally running at a 7:50, 7:45 pace, and that was a tough run. And of course, at the end of the tempo, probably the 2 most important miles are those recovery cool down miles. We cannot emphasize this enough. You do not go from sprinting or pushing all out to stopping or walking. You have to jog. You're adding another 2 miles onto your legs, and those are the miles that are going to make the difference when you're at this unknown zone in the marathon of past 20 miles to 26.
Right, and something else I just want to say is a lot of the mileage we're talking about are for people that's already been running quite a bit. So if you are just now starting off running, you should not be starting off with a 5 or 6 mile tempo run, okay? Because you do not want to get hurt. So you gradually increase your mileage, which we could definitely help you with, but I just don't want you to go out and do exactly what we did and get hurt. So if you're just new to running, your plan would definitely be different. But if you're not and you're kind of a seasoned runner, you could hop right into something like this and do just fine. Okay, so the last 2 days we're going to talk about will be very similar, so I'll let Phoebe talk about them at the same time. And so this is Friday here and Saturday. Okay, so Friday is a short recovery run and Saturday is a moderate recovery run.
Yeah, so generally these are the same thing as Monday. You're going out on a distance run that is a conversational pace, no pushing. You can even leave your watch at home unless you're like us and who have no awareness of how many miles we're actually running around here. So we bring our watch so that the GPS can tell us when we've actually run 5 miles. But again, it's not a pace-driven run. It's just a conversational pace. You can run together or whatever.
And so just to recap really quick about the week and the training plan. So you have 3 tough days. So we have the speed day, which is those intervals. Then we have the tempo day on Thursday, which is the really hard one. And then you have your long run on Sunday. And then you have the 3 recovery days. And so we did this whole training, all of those runs for a 12-week span. Now, a lot of marathon programs will be longer. And I would recommend that too. Probably 16 to 20 weeks is kind of ideal for a marathon training plan.
Yes.
All right,
so it's a lot of fun, and stay tuned for the next video, which we will talk about nutrition. Because truly, in order to be able to push yourself on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and that long run, you need the proper nutrition. And I can talk from firsthand experience how many times I got yelled at by this one for not eating enough.
That's right. And also, for those of you that like bodybuilding and you're saying, I don't want to run because I don't want to lose my gains. Well, do not worry.
They're still here, right?
I will be doing a video about how to keep your muscle mass and run marathons. So we're going to get out of here, but please, please, please do not forget that you are greatly, greatly loved, and that you are wonderfully and beautifully created, and that you are capable of far more than you could ever imagine.